Have you ever left on a journey or a trip? As you step out the door, you have no idea exactly where you're going, and you don't have any idea the path that you're going to use to eventually get to the place that you don't know where you're going. Well, I want to welcome you to today's Living Portions Parashat devotional, and this portion that we're looking at today is Masei, or journeys. This is the book of Numbers 33 through 36. This is exactly what happened to the children of Israel as they ventured with God out of Egypt. Following Moses and Aaron's lead, they step out into a journey where they have no idea exactly where they're going to go, and they don't know how they're going to get there. All they do know is that tomorrow there's no work. I'm just kidding. Actually, all they actually do know is that the God of their ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has finally come to keep his promise to them as a people, to give them a promised land. He's just defeated their enemies, and now he's getting ready to lead them into their promised land. But they have no idea what that's going to look like and how long it's going to take and where are they going to find provisions, and is it going to be easy or is it going to be hard? And yet they grab a hold of God. They grab a hold of God's promises to them as a people, and they begin to just step out with faith that's no bigger than a little grain of mustard. And that's all the faith that they had. And they began to walk with a God who, up until now, they've only heard about God. They've never really met him. They've never seen him in action. And now, for the very first time, they're starting to see God move and hear his plan for their lives. And they begin to journey with God. Now, fast forward 40 years, and they've just traveled with God for 40 years through the desert. And I'm imagining that as they get to that 40-year mark, they're sitting there on the plains of Moab, across from Jericho. They're looking into the promised land, and they're looking back at their journey going, oh my goodness, do we have a story to tell? So many pieces of this journey have been outrageous. And this is where we pick up in our Parsha devotion reading today. This is Numbers 33. And it says, here are the stages in the journey of the Israelites when they came out of Egypt by divisions under the leadership of Moses and Aaron. At the Lord's command, Moses recorded the stages in their journey. This is their journey by stages. The Israelites set out from Ramses on the 15th day of the month, the day after the Passover. They marched out defiantly in full view of the Egyptians, who were busy burying all of their firstborn, whom the Lord had struck down among them, for the Lord had brought judgment on their gods. The Israelites then left Ramses and camped at Sukkot. They left Sukkot and they camped at Etam, on the edge of the desert. They left Etam and they turned back to Pi Hahiroth, to the east of Baal Zephon, and they camped near Migdal. And then Moses continues on all the way through verse 48, and this whole long journey lands, verse 48, they left the mountains of Barim, and they camped on the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. 42 different campsites, 42 different stages over 40 years of their journey. So as they left, it's just one journey from Egypt to the promised land, but the journey was broken up into 42 segments, 42 stages that God recorded, or God wanted recorded, and he wanted them to be reviewed by the children of Israel. Each one of those stages, each one of those seasons with significance, with meaning, with purpose, where they saw God move. Most of those aren't even recorded in God's word, and yet they were recorded in their hearts and on their lives. And so we see the children of Israel sitting there, each one of those representing a part of their story, a part of God's purposes and plans and his faithfulness in their lives. Things that would have never been accomplished, the whole would have never been accomplished, the whole journey, if one of those segments would have been left out. Now, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever taken the time to record your journey with God? From that very first moment when he invited you to come walk with him, and you, by faith, you grabbed a hold of this God and his promise for your life, but you had no idea where you were going to go, how you were going to get there. And most of us can look at our lives today, if we've walked with the Lord for a long period of time, and we can look and say, I never imagined that I would be here. And I never imagined that the journey would have included this and this and this and this. And would you take the time to record your journey, all of the stages of your journey, or seasons, little segments that have made up the whole, because those segments matter to God. And what we learn through all of this is that in God's economy, it's not the destination that really matters. It's the journey. It's the journey step by step, piece by piece, season by season, where we learn growth and wisdom and humility and obedience. We stumble and we fall, and then we get back up, and we see God's grace, and we see his provision, and we see his miracles, and we begin to know this God who we'd only heard about before, but now we're getting to experience who he is. You see, friends, God is all about the journey and not just the destination. So will you record your journey with God today?